that is going on in the world. So many of us are experiencing the spontaneous awakening, the shift in consciousness, and for many it is very profound. It's like kind of like those aha moments, epiphany, if you want to call it, and it's very, how shall I say, it's a very powerful moment or moments that happen throughout our days, our weeks, our months as we're going through this process. For many, it only happens one time. There's like one day where you get this big aha moment. All of a sudden, you get the quote unquote download into your consciousness, and you understand so much more about our planet. You understand so much more about humanity, and the veil of the illusion kind of gets lifted, even if it's momentarily, or if it's for the rest of your life. It's one of those big moments. Now, as we are progressing and living the awakening, uh, many of us get lazy, and I was one of them. So I do have room to talk here. I was one of those people that got lazy and got so excited about the experience of awakening that I forgot it is a constant journey. It is not the end all. It is not the result. I know we don't know everything, that wonderful quote by Lao Tzu in the Tao, he who thinks he knows doesn't, and those who know they don't know do. And with that being said, because of the fact that we are having this awakening experience, or we have had the awakening experience, some of us tend to get a little bit lazy and think that no more work needs to be done. That is a very common way to look at it. It's like, okay, I felt it. That was great. Now I can just go back to living because I know everything. But we don't. I believe that with any practice, whether it be spiritual practice, whether it be tennis, whether it be cooking, whatever it is, we have to practice in order to really continue evolving and moving forward. So there comes a point where we must take responsibility for our awakening. Facebook posts or YouTube videos or going to that seminar or going to this seminar or watching that documentary, it's not enough. Yes, it's a great resource. Yes, you have a new way of looking at the world and you want a better quality, quote unquote, entertainment. But media and such is not the answer. It is a guide, it is a part of the awakening, but it's not the awakening. The awakening is not happening on Facebook. The awakening is not happening on Revolution Radio. The awakening is not happening on YouTube. The awakening is happening in your day to day life. So as we are utilizing these tools, and don't get me wrong, it's wonderful that I have the show here on this wonderful radio network that offers these types of programming. These are the tools. They are tools. They are not the end all. Facebook could be a tool. You see a great article that gives you an aha moment. YouTube, you watch a video that gives you an aha moment. Revolution Radio, you hear a show that gives you an aha moment. But what I'm trying to stress here is that we have to bring it into our daily life. And we must take responsibility for our consciousness. Not Our consciousness is not just to look at a screen or to listen to music or whatnot. Our consciousness is with us 24/7. So taking responsibility for our consciousness can include many different things. And one of those things that I strive for and that I try to get across in my message to humanity is the practice, and it's a very common practice in many of the Eastern traditions, of mindfulness. And I know that's going to sound cliche, but as I continue this, you'll understand what I mean by that and why it is not cliche. Let me define what I feel is mindfulness. Mindfulness to me in my life means focusing on one thing at a time. I'm not being distracted by 8 different things, not multitasking. Many people, we perpetuate this society that multitasking is a great thing and to be productive and whatnot. The reality of it is that when you're multitasking, you're doing 8 things at once. There is no focus. I'm one of these people, and a lot of my friends don't like it because of that. If I'm doing something, I don't care if I'm washing a dish and the phone rings, I ignore it. I am washing a dish. If I am writing an email and the phone rings or someone's at the door, I'm sorry, I am writing an email. I will get to it when I'm done with this task. To me, mindfulness means being in the moment, being fully conscious of the task that is at hand, and doing that throughout your day, whether it be being fully conscious of the fact that you are getting out of bed and walking to your bathroom to brush your teeth, and then being fully conscious of the idea of brushing your teeth, being in the moment of, having that toothbrush in your mouth and cleaning your teeth, being in the moment of the steps that you take throughout the day. That to me is mindfulness. Not being an automatic pilot is another way of looking at it. One of the things that we do have as human beings, whether you are an awakened being or not, I go into automatic pilot mode on occasion myself when I'm not being fully aware of what I'm doing. I get distracted. I'm thinking about something else that's happening, but I'm folding the laundry, but I'm thinking about something else. We all do this. It's a very common thing within our human consciousness. And there isn't necessarily wrong with it, because there is nothing wrong with being human. And I want to make that very clear. We are here in a human body. You are human. You are allowed to experience life as a human. To me, what mindfulness, consciousness, the awakening, and everything that I'm talking about here is about evolving that human experience of expanding the ability, the possibility, the infiniteness of our humanity, of our humanness. So automatic pilot is not necessarily a bad thing, but the reality of it is that it is a distraction from the moment that you are in. How many of us drive to work and get to work, and the next thing you're at work and it feels like 5 seconds pass. Well, where have you been? You haven't been on the drive to work. You're worrying about grocery shopping tonight, or picking up the kids in the morning, or whatnot, thinking about what needs to be done, and that's a very common trait, especially in Western culture, of what's next. I have to do this. I have to do this, and not being within the moment. We see this very commonly. Very common example of this are uh, those friends of ours, and I have many of them myself, who are constantly looking at their phone, waiting for the next text, waiting for the next Facebook message, waiting for the next tweet, waiting. What's next? What's next? Show me something more. Show me something more. Again, it's a part of the human experience. Is it mindfulness? No. Is it going to help us expand our consciousness? No. Is it going to help us, move forward on this path of awakening? No. Is it bad? Is it good? Well, it depends. But I do believe that we are allowed to experience it. We are where we are because that is where we exist at that moment. And those friends of ours that have the phones and are distracted, that's where they are. It's not my place to say, and it's not my place to take the phone out of their hand. It's like an addict. It's not up to the addict. It's not up to you to take the drugs out of the addict's hand. Nothing will change until the addict decides to make the change. So, I'm not going to think negatively or judgmental of people that are on automatic pilot, whether it be with their iPhone or whatnot. But going back to mindfulness, it is a part of our goal as those of us on the awakening path to be mindful, to be in the moment. I am speaking into a microphone right now. I am sitting in a chair right now. I have the window cracked right now. I can feel the 20-degree breeze coming through underneath. I'm very aware of my surroundings at this moment. I'm not worried about missing a phone call. I'm not worried about what I'm going to do after this broadcast. I'm here with you right now, paying attention to what I am doing right now. That is, to me, is the definition of mindfulness.